My name's Fiona, and I have 3 children, Harry, Grace and Emily. Harry passed away in 2010. He had a condition called Niemann-Pick type C. He was diagnosed when he was 3 years old. Obviously it was devastating for us. When Harry was born, he was quite poorly, and he was taken to Leeds General Infirmary where he had a heart condition. So we were quite upset about that, but they discovered that he had a large liver, and he became under the care of the liver team at St James's Hospital. But he sort of grew into quite a healthy boy, so thrived, became a normal baby, so we weren't too concerned about it. But eventually they decided to do a liver biopsy, so our world was turned upside down when we were given the diagnosis of Niemann-Pick type C. We'd never heard of anything like it before, and we were told just to go home and just enjoy him. So I went home in a state of shock, and we just started looking on the internet and discovered what Niemann-Pick was about. I'd already had twin girls by that time, and once Harry had been diagnosed, I knew that Grace had Niemann-Pick because she presented the same way at birth as Harry did. She had a large tummy, and she wasn't quite as advanced as Emily, but I just saw them as 2 different children. Although they were twins, I saw them as 2 more as siblings really. So as soon as Harry was diagnosed, I just looked at Grace and I just felt just the same devastation really. But Grace started to do more things, so I was hopeful that she didn't have it. It wasn't until it was probably time for her to go to school that I thought it was probably in her best interest, if she did have Niemann-Pick, to have a diagnosis at that point, because she would need support in school if she had NPC. So we went to Manchester and both of the girls were tested, and we were just given the devastating news that Grace also had Niemann-Pick. So when she started school, she got all the support that she needed, but it was so devastating to hear. Even though I felt in my heart I knew she had it, the diagnosis was still devastating to us. I think when Harry was diagnosed, I just remember coming home and I had to break the news to Carl because I'd gone to the clinic on my own thinking it was just a normal clinic appointment. But when we got there, I went into the room thinking it was just going to be the consultant, and there was a room full of people who had actually come because it was this rare disease and they all had this interest in this rare disease. So I had to kind of sit there and listen to this news that I wasn't expecting, looking at my baby on the floor, and I had to put him in the car and drive home and then just break the news to everybody. It was just awful. It was just like somebody dying. It was just grief, and I just remember every night just crying my eyes out, just sat there. But then as soon as he got up in the morning, he was just a joy. So my day was filled with joy, and then I'd just have to come to terms with it on an evening. I couldn't tell people at first either. It was so hard because he looked normal. He didn't look like he had anything the matter with him. It was just this disease that was just going to take him away from us. Harry had quite an advanced form of Niemann-Pick, so it progressed very, very quickly. But he very quickly lost the ability to walk, and lost his speech, and then he could no longer eat. But he was very happy. He went to mainstream school, and the children at the school absolutely adored him. He was just the centre of everything. He was such a happy little boy. When Harry was diagnosed, the first person who got in touch with us was a lady called Jackie Imrie, who was the specialist nurse for Niemann-Pick UK at the time. I think Jackie contacted us within a day. We were in this grief state, just absolutely devastated, and Jackie came and she talked us through it, and she was just absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe that there was this organisation that existed that could come and just give us so much hope, really. Jackie came in and she just talked through, and she told us as much information as we wanted to know. She you know, we asked questions, and Carl wanted to know more than me, but you know, Jackie was there. She was so knowledgeable, so we were really lucky. And then I think Tony contacted Carl, and they had a long chat on the phone. So I think immediately we felt like there was somebody out there who could help. I think that's so important. And they used to have a clinic. Well, they have a clinic in Manchester, a family clinic, every year. So I think about 6 months after Harry was diagnosed, we decided to go along to the clinic, and we were so nervous about meeting other families. But once we got there, we just had this immediate bond with all the families that we saw. I think everybody had the same experience almost. You know, the children had presented the same way, so we kind of just immediately felt like we were part of this huge family, and I think over the years that's just grown.